Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Reckoning of New York. And in the last episode, guys, we were able to witness the attack on Elysium through Padraic's point of view, and it was about as horrible as we thought it would be. Yeah, for sure. His voices are definitely playing havoc on him, and I'm curious what the aftermath of this is going to be. The voices are staying uncharacteristically silent. Not that I'm complaining, I just know it won't last very long. As we head toward the hideout, I find my hand instinctively reaching for the wound, much like a tongue probing the gap left by a recently extracted tooth. The wound is healing, slowly but surely. By sheer luck, the seasoned hunter had loaded his sidearm with conventional ammunition instead of something final deadlier. I recall the sorry state of his barely discernible remains. Kali gave a throwaway explanation involving animals or something to that effect. I wasn't in any state to pay attention, so, well. Amid our chaotic escape, there was never a suitable moment to ask what exactly happened while I was unconscious, but things are relatively quiet now. So, just to clarify, random animals came to your aid and attacked the hunter. Kali shrugs nonchalantly and adjusts her hold on Julia, who was limping between us, supported by our shoulders, still reeling from her earlier encounter with that zealot. Oh, cut the bullshit. Modesty is not a good look on you. I don't fucking know, okay? It just happened. Honestly, I just looked at him and wished rats would eat him alive. I don't know how Kali managed to subdue that hunter. My efforts barely scratched his ironclad resolve, and given a lack of experience, hers shouldn't have been able to either. But she succeeded, and we're all the happier for it. Just as mortals sometimes display extraordinary strength in moments of crises, perhaps we too can occasionally surpass our already preternatural abilities, although in less conventional ways. Still, regardless of how she managed it, I'm very impressed. And grateful. Kali, that's twice you've saved us tonight. I'm at a loss for words. Yeah, whatever. Don't sweat it. Look at you two and your domestic bliss. Disgusting. Move it. We're nearly there. We accompanied Julia all the way to Williamsburg without any further trouble. But as we reach the safe house, the reality of what lies ahead settles on me with a crushing weight. You're leading her to the lair of the beast, and you know it. All I can do is hope that I'm wrong. Nadir, we survived, mostly because Kali saved our skins. With luck, this'll play out in her favor, despite my inner voice's vehement disagreement. As soon as we enter the temporary Elysium, Julia slips off my shoulders. I relish the brief moment of relief, observing as Kali, limping slightly, moves to assist Julia, who struggles to light a cigarette. It's a peculiar habit, but then, who am I to judge? I notice Kali's quiet panic as she scans the surroundings. I offer her a comforting pat on the shoulder and sit beside her, savoring the stillness. We're all simply exhausted. And we have every right to be. The continuous clatter of the door catches my attention. More and more people trickle in, bringing news in hushed whispers. But I close my mind to it, catching only snippets of conversation about Prince Panhard's grave condition, Aisling slipped into torpor, Payne missing along with his servant. Hope's earlier comments about the servant's trustworthiness echo in my ears, but I block that out as well. I know all too well, however, that these moments of quiet never last. The background noise grows louder, while Qadir's hound is glaring at me with unmistakable disdain. I really don't appreciate the way he's eyeing me as he mutters something to his associates. You're gonna pussy out again, aren't you? I push myself up and walk over to them. You just can't seem to get enough of me, can you? Fuck's your problem now, huh? I have this condition, Every time I lay eyes on you, my fist just yearns to smash your face in. Chill out, trash. You'll get yours soon enough. Call me that again. I dare you. Cut it out, all of you. Silence engulfs the room. Only Julia, unperturbed, takes another drag of a cigarette and lazily expels the smoke. Qadir and Valerie stride into the temporary shelter, looking like they've been through hell. They're covered in blood, clothes dirty and ripped in places, but while multiple gashes and scratches mark their skin, they seem relatively unharmed. I didn't even notice their arrival. I must be losing my edge, or perhaps I'm just too agitated. Qadir moves to the middle of the room, standing tall with his shoulders squared and jaw set. Every conscious eye follows him with hawkish attention. Our counterattack was successful. We managed to rout the remaining assailants with no further losses. Valerie joins him, standing at attention, hands clasped behind the back. We were not followed to this location, and since this Elysium is newly established, its whereabouts remain secret. Rest assured, we are secure here for the time being. Qadir surveys the room with a stern gaze, his brow furrowed, and furrowing even deeper at the sight of Kali and me. For the moment, though, he focuses his attention elsewhere and barks out an order to my nemesis. You, give me a complete status report on everything that occurred in our absence. Yes, Sheriff. He gives a brief summary of what's happened during Qadir and Valerie's murderous rampage, including a tally of the final dead and the wounded. Qadir remains unmoved throughout, rooted to the spot in a peculiar way that suggests he's being restrained by the very rage that yearns to propel him forwards. His demeanor is unsettling. He was distant when I first arrived in New York, but now he seems to be even further removed, beyond anyone's reach. That'll be enough. The Hound clamps his mouth shut mid-word. Prince Panhard is in no condition to continue tonight. We will wait the day out here and plan our next steps come nightfall. Any objections? His tone invites none, and none are raised. As the kindred start to slowly filter out in search of a shelter for the night, I feel a gentle tugging on my sleeve. I think that's our cue to leave. Indeed. Let's... Not so fast. You're gonna get yours, you're gonna get yours. In the blink of an eye, he steps right into our path and stops us with a look sharper than his blade. Your arrival right before the attack seems far too miraculous for my liking. Before I can give voice to my rising anger, Kali speaks up, bristling with indignation. What's that supposed to mean? We literally saved your asses. Perhaps. Or perhaps not. We will sort that out tomorrow night. For now, I've got just the right resting place for you. You, take them to the basement cell. A cell? You can't be serious. As the ache in my wound intensifies, I'm left with no strength to resist. Neither Kali nor I protest as we're escorted down into a clean cell. We do, however, exchange a few whispers. Any brilliant plans to get us out of this mess? Without landing straight into another one, preferably? Never. Always in trouble. Mess. Trenches. The clam in my mind intensifies once more, leaving me with only a profound sense of resignation. Why don't we save the bickering for the evening? I really need rest, and you should get some too. How the hell am I supposed to rest with this fucked up dream playing on loop? No need to be dramatic, Kali. We survived the apocalypse tonight. How much worse can it get? The silence speaks volumes, for which I am grateful. Because I too dread hearing the answer. So noble, so chivalrous, so full of shit. Not for my own sake, but for hers. Meanwhile... What? Cat got your tongue? Thought you loved running your mouth off, huh? Like some eager little bitch wagging your tail for your masters. You ain't gonna tell me that knife in your throat's making things difficult, are you? Speak the fuck up!
Mia.
What's that? Sounds like a fucking mutt whining. Bark for me, why don't ya?
I fucked up. I let all of you down, and I'm fucking sorry, but...
Typical. Always a fucking butt with you.
Don't... Not like this. Not when everything's going to shit. Please. You gotta hear Padraic out.
Shut it. Just shut up. Ever since that pretty boy wormed his way in, you've gotten even more spineless, telling us to lick the Dramarilla's boots. Hold back. We can mend fences. It's all for the better future. For all anarchs. Pure fucking bullshit.
I've never...
Go to hell, Torque. And take your fucking caution with you.
Mia, don't...
Mark my words, y'all. You act like a dog, you die like a dog. Oh man, that's what happened to Torque. Alright, well, things seem to be bad all the way around. We shall end the night. Night 6. 2 nights till the new year. The chill of concrete, pitch darkness all around, and then voices. Distorted, frantic whispers piercing the silence. Cocktail of discomforts jolt me awake from the abyss of undead sleep. Morning, sunshine. In that moment, the bitter truth of last night's mayhem hits me like a falling tower. The assault on Elysium, the countless casualties, the absolute chaos. Quietly, to avoid rousing my cellmate and alerting those outside, I creep up the few stairs leading down to our cell and put my ear against the door.
Shouldn't have happened.
At least we agree on that.
You'll do well to...
Before I can catch another word, Kali rouses from his sleep and looks around, confused, blinking at me in the daze. I didn't think there'd be a worse place to sleep than my last backup haven. You holding up okay? Fared the middling, thanks. Can't say the same for Downtown Abbey out there, though. Think we're gonna get caught up in it? You tell me. I sidle over and free up some space for her, but by the door. She takes the hint and leans in, pressing her ear against it, no scrunched in concentration.
You bask in your own authority, Helen. Blissfully ignorant. A damn epitome of ivory tower behavior.
Tread lightly, Sheriff. You're addressing your superior.
Superior? By what measure? Do you truly see yourself standing above us all, Helen? Above those who met their final deaths last night? Payne's gone. Aisline's in torpor. Julia barely slipped through the jaws of that many-headed beast. But many others found no such luck. This is the heavy toll of your negligence. Tell me, how many times did I suggest relocating Elysium?
Perhaps we should seek to de-escalate.
Spare me, Arturo. I want to hear it from her.
Qadir.
You've been so detached, you don't even know. Had I not anticipated such a disaster, securing havens and employing safety protocols in advance, where would we stand now?
The tension is like a thick fog, creeping under the door and enveloping both Kali and me, leaving behind the sour sting in the air.
This is what happens when you fail to prepare, the dire outcomes of inaction when action is crucial.
This disaster wouldn't have happened if you had simply done your job. Had you stayed hidden, heeding my directives instead of meddling with mortals.
A juvenile excuse, matched by an equally juvenile assessment. You were warned, repeatedly, that the mob with their pitchforks and torches wasn't sidling idle. Yet you ignored the matter and insisted on throwing bodies at the old clan instead of fortifying our lines. Ridiculous. Ever since the debacle with Callahan, you've been unraveling, Helen. Succumbing to stupor bit by bit, with your harpy puppeteer blind to your decline.
How dare... Oh, just shut it, Arturo. It's common knowledge. Everyone and their sire knows it. A moment of silence descends upon the room. Qadir, the masquerade...
Spare me that old refrain. The masquerade ends when the dance floor is engulfed in flames.
And quelling those flames was your responsibility.
My role is to prevent the fire from starting at all, or to extinguish it swiftly when it does. Instead, under your command, I'm just a latecomer to damage control, while you bash your head against the Zamisi wall.
You're well aware of our reasons for prioritizing Veritra. We were gaining ground.
Were we, Helen? Veritra remains unyielding, unapproachable. She decimates our envoys and clings to her ill-gotten domain like her monstrous namesake. We're clueless about her motives and alliances. It's clear she's quietly executing her plans, yet so far none of her schemes have threatened our interests. Does this shadow play really outweigh gunfire on our streets?
Even from this distance, I can tell Panhard is thoroughly embarrassed.
If we'd paid heed to the purge of the Thin Bloods, to the unaccounted kindred deaths beyond our circles, we would have uncovered leads much sooner. Larson's destruction was a glaring warning, ignored because you dismissed him as nothing more than a farce. And now, the failures regarding Veritra are mine to bear.
He scoffs loudly.
For weeks we've known our true adversary was well organized. That alone should have set off the alarms. But the scale...
He starts pacing, rapidly losing his composure.
Curse it, Helen! We had Aaron Fletcher in our sights 2 full nights in advance. The evidence was compelling. The strategy laid bare. This catastrophe was entirely avoidable.
Fletcher. The very notion sounds ludicrous. I know, right? But when you really think about it, the distinct sound of a lighter igniting breaks the tension for a moment. He's a charismatic multimillionaire, totally ostracized by the public for his extremist beliefs, notorious for spouting the wildest shit. And the rumors about gun running? Spot on, according to what I've dug up. Plus, he's got his hands on some top-tier tech, which would certainly help in his obsessive hunt. His deep pockets and sheer zealotry are what's keeping this whole circus afloat. Ludicrous as it sounds, the pieces align perfectly. As the court's argument dies down for a while, Kali throws me a confused look. I can't help but mirror it, even though I'm always trying to look as composed as always. Then, an epiphany. An apostrophe.
I think you made an epiphany.
The influential mortal mentioned in the circulatory system documents. He's the head of the hunters who are terrorizing New York. And it seemed Kali's come to the same realization. Padraic, I think I just pieced together something major. Aaron Fletcher is the influential mortal who's been buying arms from Yesiah. Can't you ever just pretend to be clueless? Like, oh really, Kali? Do tell. My brain's too damn small to connect the dots. I fight back a smile. It's good to see she's still in high spirits, even if her humor is just masking her fear. Apologies, it's just an instinctive response. Whatever. It's all bullshit, no matter how you slice it. She falls mournfully quiet for a moment, as if unsure about who she is anymore. Just when I'm about to offer some words of comfort, a burst of muffled noise breaks the silence. We both press closer to the door, straining our ears once again. And what do you propose, then? A booming thud signals the introduction of Qadir's fist to some innocent piece of furniture.
There's a time for courtesy and a time for heads to roll. I call for the latter. We must crush this mob, snap their pitchforks, and smother their torches. And for that to happen, Aaron Fletcher must die.
Panhard's quiet surrender says it all. She's out. Just as I thought, the tides are shifting, and the new power structure is obvious to anyone with an iota of good sense. And with Payne out of the picture.
Valerie, mobilize our forces. Remind them that caution is paramount. The streets have yet to be cleansed. And reach out to Torque.
Is that wise, Qadir? The potential fallout of the Anarchs turning on us seems disproportionate to the benefits.
We've skirted around the edge of peace for far too long. I'm not taking any chances. Besides, we need to put their allegiance to the test.
Speaking of which, we're currently hosting one in the basement, along with another matter that needs attention. I'm sure our mediator would make for a fine messenger too, but we have to sort out the issue of his companion.
Enough. You, bring them here, now. Understood, sir.
I straighten up when Kali jerks away from the door as if burned. Shit. Fuck. I reach out and put a hand on her shoulder, partly to comfort her, and partly to keep her steady on her feet. Poor girl looks like she's in utter shambles. She doesn't push me away. Take it easy, Kali. We'll get through this. Like hell, I'm royally screwed. You heard the fucking sheriff, right? Didn't I swear to stick by you? I plan on keeping that promise. All the things we dug up, we've got enough evidence to shut them up. Trust me. Just... I'm cut off by the screeching of the basement door. It's none other than my favorite lackey who pokes his head into the cell. Lash out at him, that fucker! Who does he?
They're waiting for you upstairs.
His eyes are so full of pity when he looks at Kali that she visibly wilts when she notices. I nod at the Hound, both of us upholding our ceasefire, and head out of the cell. Kali trails slowly behind me. The remnants of the once formidable Primogen Council stare us down as we approach the sheriff. Qadir is not as wild-eyed as he was last night when we went on that rampage, but he still radiates a suffocating intensity, and the look he gives us both is brimming with judgment. In one swift move, he picks up his scimitar from the rack, and Kali flinches.
You're free to leave now, Qadir. I take it you've lingered by the basement door long enough. Inform your barren friend of the course of action.
So that's how it's gonna be. I intend to, but I'd like to see this through. She was my responsibility after all.
Very well.
Kali shrinks a little, eyes dotting around like cornered prey. I want to reach out and comfort her again, but such a weak gesture would certainly be received poorly by the council. I need them to consider me confident if my plan is going to work.
As you may have noticed, we're on the clock here, and I have little patience for your charades. You promised Castle's head on a plate, and yet, here we stand empty-handed. At this juncture, any Ravnos head would suffice to lift my spirits.
Oh, wouldn't that be a sight worth seeing? Kali remains rooted in the spot when he replaces the blade against the neck. I smother the urge to step in. Not yet, Fionn.
One reason. Give me one good reason not to take yours.
She glances at me, eyes filled with desperation, but her gaze is quickly recaptured by Qadir's. While they glare at each other silently, Kali's face changes from terrified to pensive, then to unbelievably furious. You knew. You knew the whole fucking time! Not yet. But things are starting to get out of hand. Kali, listen. Christ, how could I be such an idiot?
Ease your wrath, young raven.
She smacks Qadir's blade away from her neck, fangs bared in seething rage. All this bullshit with Praxis, dragging the system into it, the arms dealing. You fuckers were in the loop the entire time, using me to draw Reynard out. Praxis. Arturo smirks at her sarcastically. Julia gives a single, sarcastic clap. Look at you, playing detective. Qadir looks Kali over, then lowers his weapon a notch.
I suppose there's little point in keeping the charade up. Is there, Prince?
Your further attempts to degrade my position are less than welcome. Unfazed, Qadir speaks again.
Indeed. Our strategy was to draw Castle out into the open, to unveil the buyer in his arms deal. His knack for evasion had made him a challenging quarry. We had strong suspicions that he, wittingly or unwittingly, supplied the mob that ravaged Elysium last night. Given the man's reputation, it's not far-fetched to assume he would deal with the literal devil, but you're closer to him. Make of that what you will.
Kali looks truly gutted. Although her body is stiff with fury, her shoulders sag and her lips turn downwards. She briefly closes her eyes.
That's when you entered the picture. You choosing the Qadir as your caretaker was just an unexpected bonus.
She bites her lower lip, hard enough to split it. And for what? All for fucking nothing.
Not quite. Your endeavor, though it didn't pan out as intended, played a crucial role in cornering Aaron Fletcher. And as for the other misdemeanors of your sire, they now pale in comparison. We've gathered what we need to douse the true inferno before us.
Now.
Okay.
But none of that blaze was directly caused by Kali. Her final death will change nothing. The inferno will still consume us whole lest we put aside these minor irritations and focus on extinguishing it. She looks at me in disbelief. It's hard to watch, so I keep my eyes on Qadir. We've achieved our aim by taking advantage of her limitless naivete. I think it's time to release her. I'm trying to help you, Kali. Stop making that face, please. Qadir raises his blade again.
Knowingly or not, she was complicit in Castle's schemes, including those that led to the assault on Elysium. In my eyes, that warrants capital punishment.
I didn't... Do what you must. As if compelled, I take a step forward, placing myself firmly between Kali and Qadir's sharp blade. Ease off, Sheriff. Sheath your weapon. Reserve its sting for the true culprits.
Perhaps you have a point, Mediator.
It is not your time, Fionn. Stand firm. Although the blade inches closer to my skin, I feel nothing. No fear, no anger, just serene clarity. Qadir, cut the shit, please. Enough is enough. They were there for us last night. Pain is transient. Speak. Look beyond your fury. Recognize Kali for what she truly is. A blind tool in the schemes of a seasoned manipulator. Her death achieves nothing. It won't deliver Castle into our hands. It won't undo the past. It serves no purpose other than to satiate your thirst for carnage.
Ooh.
It is simply unjust, Sheriff, and far beneath you and your devotion to your station. Kali remains paralyzed, twitching from time to time while seething in fury. She watches me carefully, and I don't know if she's worried for herself or for me. The edge of the Sheriff's scimitar is so close to my neck, it's about to break the skin. Stand firm. Is mine or this stupid fledgling's end truly worth the fallout? Press on, and see how Torque's cooperation becomes a distant dream. I can feel the pressure of the blade right against my defunct aorta. But I stand my ground, calm, collected, and confident. Enough, for fuck's sake! I cut her off with a gesture. Silence, girl. Let me help you. Release the sheriff. Just let it go. And then, Qadir actually does it. He lowers his weapon, his whole body shaking with barely contained rage.
Go. Now.
Yet Kali doesn't move an inch. I could see her trying, struggling against the invisible restraints in her mind, but before I can rouse her, Qadir bares his fangs once more.
Get out before I change my mind. And never show your face in New York. Ever. Again.
Kali almost stumbles from the abruptness of this denouement and gives me a searching look. Let her go. I tried to silently express regret, an apology, an explanation. We're both slaves to different masters, Kali. Some of us more than others. Some of us have hidden so much from the world. But you told me yourself. What are we if not the secrets we keep? I don't know if she understands. Her face shuts down as she turns on her heel and storms out of the building without looking back. I can see Julia grimacing in sympathy, but that's the only reaction from the council. Qadir's eyes are cold and full of disdain when they bore into mine.
You. Go. Now. Get to Torque and make him show up before I change my mind and make an example of why Kadovs are unwelcome in the domains of the Camarilla.
That seems to be my cue. I bow with ironic civility, and partly to hide my all too obvious relief. Still, I can't possibly leave without a parting shot. You are on a path to destruction, Sheriff Qadir al-Asmai. For you and everyone around you. It's not too late to change course. Qadir's knuckles tighten around the handle of his scimitar, but he remains silent. It's Arturo who tosses me a wry look. You forget yourself, dear mediator. Your job isn't to stand in the way of the court. It is to mediate. So go and do just that. Whew. Alright, well that was a close one, but we did have some variations from Kali's story, but it seems that Padraic was able to get Kali out. And now there's the aftermath and what this is going to, because they kind of go down separate pathways here until the end, if I recall correctly. So I think this is where we're going to really kind of get into the meat of Padraic's tale. But I hope you all have enjoyed it. We'll go ahead and end it here and pick it up in the next episode. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. I will see you next time. Later days, everyone.